Raskolnikov. Raskolnikov is a 24-year-old poverty-stricken student who commits a double murder. For a few hundred rubles, he kills an old pawnbroker with an axe. And he accidentally kills her younger sister, who happens to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. And with that moment, his punishment begins. Because for the next 72 hours, he is in a feverish delirium. He is literally wandering through the streets of St. Petersburg. He's racked with guilt. His conscience is tormented. He's trying to understand why he did what he did. And with every hour, his sense of isolation from the world becomes more and more acute. And it gets to the point that he feels as if he were standing on a tiny little ledge on the edge of a giant cliff overlooking a vast stormy ocean, and that he is condemned to stand alone on that spot for the next 1,000 years. And all he wants to do at this point is confess, to unburden his soul. But who would listen to him? Who would hear what he has done and still treat him as a human being? There's one person he thinks he can trust. Sonia, a prostitute whose father Raskolnikov meets 2 days before he commits the murder. And he's sitting there with Sonia side by side in her tiny little garret-like apartment, and he's looking at her, and he's getting up the courage, and he blurts it out. He tells her what he's done. And she looks at him, and she begins to weep, and she embraces him. And he pushes her away. He says, I just told you I murdered 2 people. How can you respond in that way? And she says, because I can see there is no one in the world unhappier than you are now. So, we were talking about that scene from Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment at the correctional center. It was a hot July day, and we're all sitting in a circle in the prison classroom. It's about 5 UVA students, and they're in their jeans and their t-shirts. About 15 residents, all in their identical khaki pants, their state-issued polo shirts. And we're having this conversation, and one of the residents raises his hand. And I'm kind of surprised because I haven't heard anything from him in the past month. He's a very quiet kid, kind of stereotypical, tough guy image, very muscular. He's got tattoos all over his arms. And he raises his hand when we're talking about this scene. And he says to the group, where's my Sonia? When I got locked up, everyone abandoned me. Where's the person who would see the worst of what I've done and still love me? And with those few courageous sentences, that young man taught all of us in that room more about the theme of compassion in Dostoevsky than 20 lectures by me could have done.